My job is trash. I don't mean that in a metaphoric way. I hate my career, kind of way. I mean literally. I'm a garbage collector. My alarm goes off at 4 a.m. I pull on steel-toed boots and I spend the next 8 hours heaving the things people don't want anymore into the back of a growling truck. It's dirty, smelly, physically demanding job, but it pays the bill for my tiny apartment and it's honest work. You also learn a lot about people from what they throw out. Most of the time it's just bags of household garbage, but sometimes you find treasures. A broken piece of furniture that can be fixed, a box of old books. People get rid of strange things all the time. My rule is that if it's in the box and set out separately, it's fair game to take a look. That's how I ended up with the tapes. It happened a few weeks ago. I was on my usual route through a quiet, older suburban neighborhood. One of the residents, a man probably in his late 20s, flagged me down. He looked awful. His eyes were wide and bloodshot, with dark, bruised-looking circles under them, like he hadn't slept in a month. His hands were trembling. "Hey," he said, his voice hoarse, whisper, and trembling. "You're the garbage guy, right? Can you just take this from me, please? Just get it out of my house, please. I will even pay you." He shoved a heavy cardboard box into my hands. It was sealed with a single, hasty strip of packing tape. "Sure thing, man," I said. "Just leave it on the curb next time." "No," he said, his eyes darting around nervously. "I need it gone. Now." He didn't wait for a reply. He just turned and practically ran back into the house, slamming the door behind him. I shrugged, tossed the box into the cab of my truck to look through later, and continued my route. That night, back in my apartment, I finally opened the box. It was heavy. Inside, packed neatly, were at least 50 old home video cassettes, the kind of we all used to in the 90s, big, clunky black rectangles. None of them had labels. They were completely anonymous. I'm not gonna lie, my first thought was a little voyeuristic. Who knew what could be on these? Maybe something spicy, maybe something weird, maybe something interesting. It was a window into a stranger's life. Anything was better than usual mind-numbing cable TV. I had an old VCR TV combo I picked up from a thrift store, so I pulled it out, blew the dust off it, and popped in the first tape. The screen flickered to life with a burst of static, then resolved into a shaky, oversaturated home video. It was a kid's birthday party, a backyard, a bunch of screaming children, a cake with cartoon characters on it. The timestamp in the corner said 1998. Watching it, I got a strange sense of second-hand nostalgia. The clothes, the music, the quality of the video itself. It was a time capsule. And I recognized one of the kids, a small, skinny boy with a goofy grin. It was the man who had given me the box. The next few states were more of the same. Christmas mornings with mountains of discarded wrapping paper, and so on and so forth. Awkward family vacations to the beach, the camera panning shakingly across the sunburnt faces. I watched him grow up on those tapes from a little kid to a gawky teenager. It was strangely intimate, watching these moments that were never meant for my eyes. It was all so normal, boring even. I was about to give up and just toss the whole box. Then, when I put the tape of the barbecue in, something struck me. The timestamp said July 2002. The scene was familiar. A sunny backyard, adults drinking beer, kids running through a sprinkler. The man from the tapes, now a teenager, was trying to flip burgers on grill, clearly failing. It was another slice of mundane life. I was half watching, half scrolling on my phone, and then the video glitched. The screen dissolved into a brief, violent snowstorm of static, a loud bzzz coming through the speakers. It lasted only a second. When the picture returned, the scene was the same. The burgers were still burning, the kids were still screaming, but something was different. In the background, hanging from the thick branches of a large oak tree, there was a shadow. It wasn't there before. The glitch. I rewound the tape, watched it again. Normal scene. Bzzz. Glitch. And there it was. It was a dark shape, like a smudge on the lens. but it had a distinct, unsettling form. It looked contacted with tentacles, kinda, like a squid or an octopus made of pure darkness, just dangling there among the leaves. I leaned closer to the screen, my heart beating a little faster. It was probably nothing, a film artifact, a bit of the tape degrading in a weird way. That had to be. I shook my head, dismissing the creepy feeling crawling up my spine, and let the tape play out. The shadow never moved. It was just there, a silent, impossible observer in a happy family memory. I put the next tape in, a Christmas morning from 2004. The family was in their living room, opening presents. The teenage boy, the man, was showing off a new video game console. It was all laughter and joy. I was watching intently and waiting. Bzzz. The glitch, the static, the picture returned, and my blood ran cold. It was there again, the thing, but it wasn't on a tree in the background anymore. It was in the house for a few frames, just a fraction of a second. I saw it standing in the dark hallway that led out to the living room. It was clear this time. It had depth, a three-dimensional quality. It wasn't a flat shadow. It was a thing, a tall, spindly, dark thing with what looked like long, thin limbs that coiled and shifted like they had no bones. It was just standing there in the shadows of the hallway, watching the family celebrate like a creepy stalker. I rewound it, played it in slow motion. Before the glitch, the hallway was empty. After the glitch, the creature was there. It wasn't part of the original recording. The glitch wasn't revealing something that was already there. The glitch was adding it. It was inserting the observer somehow into the memory. That's when the obsession began. I spent the next 3 days doing nothing but watching those tapes. I called in sick to work. I didn't eat. I barely slept. I sat in my darkened apartment, the only light coming from the glowing screen of the old TV, and I watched it. Every single tape was the same. A normal family event, a wedding, a graduation, a trip to a theme park, and in every single one the glitch would happen, and every single time the thing would appear, and it was getting closer and closer. On a tape of a trip to the zoo, it was a dark shape behind the glass of the reptile house. On a tape of the school play, it was a tall, thin figure standing in the wings of the stage. With each appearance, it became more defined, more visualized, the vague octopus-like shadow resolved into a distinct silhouette. The silhouette grew limbs, a torso, a head. It was impossibly tall and thin. Its limbs too long, its joints bending at unnatural angles. It was like a spider, and a man had been melted together in the dark with octopus tentacles. It never moved, it never interacted with the family, it just watched. A silent, parasitic passenger under memories. I felt like I was losing my mind. Was I just seeing things? Was the man who gave me the tapes some kind of weird indie filmmaker who made found footage horror? But it all felt too real. The family, their lives, it was too authentic. The creature was the only thing that felt wrong. I got to the last tape in the box. It was older than the others, the quality much worse. The timestamp read 1995. Somehow, the tape began in a sterile, white hospital room. A tired-looking woman in a hospital bed. A man who I recognized as a younger version of the father from the other tapes, so the tapes were not in order, holding a small, swaddled bundle. It was the birth of the man who had given me the box, his first moments of his life, captured on a grainy magnetic tape. I braced myself. I stared at the screen, my knuckles white, waiting for the inevitable glitch, waiting to see where the creature would appear this time. In the corner of the room? In the reflection of the window? But the tape played on, and the baby cried. The mother smiled, exhausted but happy. The father cooed. The camera zoomed in on the baby's tiny wrinkled face. It played perfectly, from start to finish. No glitches, no static, no creature. The tape ended, the screen dissolving into blank, blue void. A wave of immense, shuddering relief washed over me. I laughed. A choked, hysterical sound. It was over. The last tape was clean. It was just a weird, recurring flaw in the other tapes, a magnetic anomaly. My brain had filled in the blanks, created a monster out of nothing. I was an idiot. A sleep-deprived, paranoid idiot. I leaned forward and turned off the VCR. The TV screen went black, and I saw it. It wasn't even a reflection. It wasn't a trick of the light. It was in the room with me. The darkness behind the television, in the corner where the shadows were deepest, was wrong. It was a patch of absolute black, a void that seemed to drink the faint light from the still lamp outside. And from that void, 2 points of light ignited, 2 giant crimson, self-luminous eyes. They weren't looking at the TV, they were looking directly at me. I could see its shape now fully formed, no longer grainy image on a screen. It was pressed against the wall and the ceiling, its long, spiny limbs splayed out like a monstrous spider. Its body was shifting, a mass of shadows, but those eyes were solid and real and filled with an ancient, terrifying intelligence. I don't think I screamed. I think the sound was trapped in my throat, a solid ball of pure terror. I scrambled backward, falling out of my chair, and the crab walked across the floor until my back hit the opposite wall. I fumbled for the lamp on the end table, my fingers feeling like useless, clumsy sausages. I found the switch and flicked it. The room was flooded with light. The corner was empty. The TV was just a TV. The shadows were just shadows. It was gone. But it had been there. I knew it. I spent the rest of the night huddled in my late kitchen, clutching a buttered knife, jumping at every creak and groan of the old building. Sleep was a country I could no longer visit. The next morning, driven by a desperate need for answers, I decided to go back to the man's house. I had to know. I had to ask him what he had put me through. I gathered up the tapes, put them back in their box, and drove over to his neighborhood. When I pulled onto his street, I saw the police cars. Yellow tape was cording off his house. My heart sank into my stomach. I parked down the street and walked closer, trying to take a look. A curious neighbor. A small group of actual neighbors were gathered on the sidewalk, speaking on hushed, morbid tones. Just found him this morning. An elderly woman was there saying, "Terrible, so young." "What happened?" another neighbor asked. The woman lowered her voice, but I was close enough to hear. "They're not saying much, but my cousin's son is one of the officers on the scene. He said it was the strangest thing he has ever seen. The man was just sitting in his chair, no signs of struggle, but his head, well, the top of his skull was gone. And his brain, it was missing." I didn't hear anything else. The words hit me like a physical blow. His brain was missing. The world tilted on its axis. I turned and stumbled back to my car, the box of tapes feeling like it weighed 1,000 pounds. I got home, my mind a blank, a roar of static. I needed to get rid of them, burn them, throw them in the river. I brought the box inside, and as I was about to just dump the contents into a trash bag, my fingers brushed against a piece of paper at the very bottom, hidden beneath the last cassette. I hadn't noticed it before. It was a small folded note. The handwriting was shaky, erratic, the writing of a man on the edge of utter collapse. I unfolded it. It only had a few words. "I'm sorry. It promised me it would leave me alone." And in that moment, I understood everything. He passed it on to me, and now I don't know what to do. I live with this thing, this silent observer, waiting for it to get too hungry, or do I find another person, another stranger, and hand them a box of old tapes? Do I save myself by damning someone else, just like he did? But it hadn't saved him. The creature had lied. It had moved on to me, and then it had gone back to collect his final payment from him, his brain. Maybe that's what it eats. Minds, brains, maybe that's what his intelligence is from. I don't know. All I know is that I'm so tired, but I'm terrified to go to sleep. Thank you everyone who listened to this amazing story, again written by gamalfrank. Make sure you go drop him a follow on Reddit, and make sure you check out his links, and the original story will be linked down below in the description. Big shout out to him. He has been giving us amazing stories. My take on this story is this might be an inspired ancient version of Slender Man, but who knows? We might get an answer in the second episode. If you want to see the second episode and gamalfrank write this down for us, or we work on it ourselves by his permission, let's hit 50 likes And also, let's try to hit 100 subscribers. Make sure you drop down your comment, your opinion, and your suggestions for next video. And we are going to hopefully work on a passion project soon. And if you have any recommendation, anything you want to see here for me to do, make sure you drop the comments, and make sure you check out my Twitch. I stream every other day. And make sure you also check out the Discord community, which I will leave a link to it. If you want to join the community, you have to accept the rules and the roles. But until next time, make sure you take care of yourself, eat well, drink water, or he will visit you.